What's happening, guys, and welcome back to Commotion Podcast. This week, we have got Space Rabbit Coffee Company in the house. Tanner and Lindsey are going to stop by and talk about how they formed the business, what's next for the business. Man, they have got it going on in Christiansburg. Last week, we were off. The week before that, we had Zach Assad. That was insane. If you guys haven't checked that out, make sure you go back and check it out. I have got to give a shout out to Brad with Sport Around Trophies. He always hooks up our guests as well as the crew here at Commotion Podcast with killer tumblers. If you need anything at all, make sure you reach out to him. It is Sport Around Trophies and Awards on Facebook and all social media, or you can give Brad a call, 540-613-1892. Let's get to the business, y'all.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lindsey and Tanner with Space Rabbit Coffee. Man, thank you guys so much for coming in. I've heard such amazing things about your coffee. I have not tried it yet because I'm slacking. Apologize for that. But thank you guys for so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This is super cool.
I appreciate it. So when you guys pulled up, you got the minivan. Yeah, you got kids. You dropped them off for the podcast, right?
Yeah, it's actually our second minivan, and they were exactly the same.
Oh, yeah. So you get what you like, and then you're like, yeah, I'm sticking to this. No, I'm like that with shoes. Like I got 800 pairs of Hey Dudes.
We got rid of the first one because we were doing like the Dave Ramsey thing.
Okay.
And then I drove a crappy Chevy Equinox for a while.
Yeah.
And when that started kind of messing up on me, we went back to the Odyssey.
Back to the van.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody talks smack on it, but it drives good.
Yeah,
V6.
Dude. What is it? A Toyota? Is that a Toyota?
Honda.
It's a Honda Odyssey.
Yeah.
Dude, those things were wicked back in the day. We used to build cars, and I remember a couple guys would trick out the Honda Odysseys. You got the body kit and stuff on that thing too, don't you? It looks really nice.
Got a nice pinstripe down it too.
It was not me.
That's 10 horsepower right there, dude. We used to laugh back in the day, the more stickers you had on your car. Growing up back when the import scene was crazy, the faster you were. It's like, damn, I got like 80 stickers. I got like 90 horsepower total in this thing. Well, tell me a little bit about you guys. You obviously are together as humans, correct? Or did I just assume that?
No, we are.
Okay. So how did y'all meet?
My best friend in high school was dating her best friend, so they got us together, and
there you go.
We're still together today. And
awesome.
They're long departed.
Splitsville, and you guys are good to go.
Yeah, we started dating in 2008.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you guys have been together a while.
Went to college together. Yeah.
Nice. Where'd you go?
Longwood.
Longwood. Where's that?
Farmville. It sounds like a made up place.
Like
Longwood from Farmville. Was it in the sticks?
Yeah, basically.
Awesome. What'd you guys study?
I went to school for elementary education.
Okay. Very admirable. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I got a biology degree, and then I went to nursing school after that.
Okay. Gotcha. So after college happened, did what you thought would happen with your careers happen?
For a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yep.
Yeah. She was she taught second grade in Roanoke.
Bless your heart.
And
I
then,
taught second grade for 2 years and then kindergarten for 1 year.
Yeah, see, kindergarten to me, it's like, okay, you get a little bit of a pass for being a butt. You know what I mean? It's like, you're okay for now. Second grade, it's like, we got to get this together. Is that what you saw?
Yeah, the behaviors were kind of crazy. I taught in the city, and it was interesting.
Yeah.
But they're good kids, but it's just right on that line of they wanted to be there and liked school, and man, they hated school and didn't want to be there.
I got you.
So it kind of was a weird age, but
sure.
It was fun.
Growing up, it's weird. We thought, I'm 45. So I grew up and I went to school in the 80s and the 90s. They had no idea how bad it was going to get in the school system. Like we were just prepping, them for, they thought it was bad because, every now and then we might cuss or something. I mean, people are getting in fist fights and hitting teachers and
yes.
It's like wild out there, man.
Yeah, I had a couple kids try to beat me up. Not at the same time. It wasn't like,
You just say you had to gang up on them and just did you give them an elbow or anything?
oh no, I had to take a special class to learn how to like physically handle children that were out of control.
Really?
And that's about the time I decided I, wanted to look at other options.
Yeah. So you were there for 2 years?
3.
3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. So did you have to manhandle anything in biology, or what did you do?
So I went and got my nursing degree. And
Oh, okay. Well, then probably yes.
Yeah. Yeah, several mental health issues. At one point I was in the ER holding where they took like medically stable people just waiting for
Yeah.
like a mental health bed.
Mhm.
And they would just drop them off and be like, oh, what are you here for? Oh, homicidal ideations.
Nice. Very
Oh,
good.
okay, well, I'll go get you a turkey sandwich.
Yeah. What do you like to eat? Let me get that for you. So that's what we did. Like Logan and I, we were CIT trained. So we would deal with the people that had the ECOs that were mentally unstable, and had that holding time to where they could determine if they were a candidate for a temporary detention order. So, yeah, been there with you. So what all did you see? You have to have a good story. What's your best story from doing that?
So I had a lady, they dropped her off and she was just, she'd taken a lot of meth. And
Oh, nice.
She was just back and forth. And so I just kept like, she was just out of control. I had to keep going because you have to like call for stuff and you're locked in there with one other like nurse's aide.
Yeah.
And like they're unstable people.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to get drugs and like, it's a long process of getting every drug, but
Yeah.
by the time the police came to pick her up, they had to like physically like lift her up into
Yeah.
because
Been
all that
there.
stuff hit her at the same time and
Yeah. Been there. I had one that was in Pulaski, actually.
worked there.
And she wasn't, they were like, oh, this ought to calm her down a little bit. This will calm her down enough to where we can talk to her. We had her like iron crossed and she was going, I have some stories, but they gave her one injection, something that was supposed to calm her down. No, says I. Gave her another one. No, says I. And they had to get approval because apparently after X amount of like horse tranquilizers, you have to ask permission to do more. So yeah, and meth is interesting, seeing it firsthand. So
I bet.
yeah, well, you saw it.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
not going
yeah,
out like, and yeah, Pulaski, like
they'll get you.
there's a lot of that there.
Yeah, what's weird is it really is everywhere. It's just everywhere. It just happens to be. It follows the kind of the poor communities and certain things like that, and it's unfortunate. I've seen it. Just people in the just bowels of it, just fighting it. One of our last episodes, we talked about it. With Chris Alderman and John Dance. They were both addicts recovering, going through it, trying to make a better stand on it. And it's a struggle for people. It really does. It changes your chemistry. It changes your everything.
Oh yeah.
It's wild. So sorry, go ahead.
I was just talking about the opioid epidemic. Like it was just, and now you have to like wean people off. So they're on like methadone and then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had friends struggle with it. I had one friend that tricked me one time when I was young. We know who he was. He played drums, but he was not my really good friend. But he was like, "Hey man, can you run me over here? I got to pick up something real quick, my buddy." And then he got there and like he was like, "All right, so you got my back, right?" He's supposed to give me some Suboxone or something. I can't remember what it was. I was like, "Absolutely not, dude." I was like, "No, you can get out. You can figure this shit out. I'm your friend, but I'm not going to get shot." Because, I'm like 17 or 18, whatever. I'm like, "No, dude, figure this out. We can leave in one piece, or you can leave and I can leave in one piece, whatever you want to do, but I'm not doing this shit." It was one of those situations. So did you see any of that even in the younger ages? Did you have any run-ins?
No, not really. And we had some parents that we kind of, were watching, keeping an eye on, but not anything.
Yeah, it's wild. We're all human. We all err, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It just sucks when the kids have to go through it. You see that a lot. So how you guys graduated? You became a nurse, correct? You were in the schools. What made you guys come together? Was there like a desire to want to work together?
No.
None. I get it. I'm married.
We had already worked together. When we first started dating, we ended up working together at Randolph Park as lifeguards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so we did that during the summers and worked together for 4 years,
Something like that.
4 or 5 years, and it was not for us.
I was the manager one year, and that was a really bad year.
I'm
gotcha.
a rule follower, and I want everyone to follow the rules because I believe there's reasons for them.
Sure.
And I would try to enforce them, and
Pick fights.
I would not pick fights.
You're picking a fight right now, Lindsay. No, I get
But
it.
yeah, so then they would complain that I was mean because I wasn't letting people eat on the pool deck or, grope each other in the pool and things. So
Oh,
he
you
would
were-
have to go smooth it out.
Were you being a Karen?
Yeah,
You
for
were.
sure.
How old were you then? You were young. This was before
Yeah,
or after.
I was 18.
Oh, okay. Dang.
Throughout college.
Yeah, through
Throughout college, she Karened people.
Yeah,
Hey, that's okay though. We need it. It keeps me in line.
they joke at the coffee shop that I'm Gordon Ramsay when I come, but I'm not.
Oh.
I'm not.
That's
I think the whole
hilarious.
Karen movement is a psyop anyways. It's just
Yeah,
to get people to lower their expectations. Like,
it's true. I think
expect
if,
bad service.
yeah, and then when you get it, you're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you come in with these preconceived notions of like, well, I've heard things, and then when they're nice, they're like, man, 5 stars.
Yeah.
So after the whole experience of lifeguarding together, what made you guys kind of move? Obviously, you had college and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was the next step after that for you guys?
So we went, this is where I think it starts. We went to a music festival. Was it Okeechobee Music Festival in Florida?
Okay. Yeah.
And it was like right in February, March range.
Okay.
We went and did that, and it was the first time that I had been to Florida or really anywhere past like South Carolina. And I was like, man, there's so much more to see and do and experience than just like, Roanoke, Pulaski, Christiansburg.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't want to go back to teaching. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, we're going to figure this out. We're going to figure it out. So I was like obsessed with coming up with other things to do so that I had more time, because we only got 2 personal days as teachers and then like summers off, but not really. And so I was trying to figure it out. And then a lot of his friends were nurses that were starting to go the travel nurse route.
Sure.
And so he was like, all right, well, I want to do travel nursing. And we had bought a house. We owned a home in Roanoke. Had only lived there like, I don't know, 6 months. And I was like, all right, well, if I can find some sort of job that will allow me to travel, then let's do it.
Yeah.
And so then, long story, but like I had a concussion when we got back because I hit my head on my kitchen counter.
Oh, good Lord.
And just like all these things that kept happening.
Promise.
No, really.
Tanner.
I was trying to put on my shoe really quickly and I just like hit my head. But anyways, I was out of work for a long time and I was like enjoying it, not like not working, but just like finding other things to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't go back. Like, this is it. Like, we've got to figure it out. So then towards the very end of the school year, we were at Firefly Music Festival and I got a call from a large nonprofit organization, Teach for America, asking if I wanted to do a job interview.
Oh.
And so I ended up getting that job and he started doing the travel nurse thing. And so that was in June. And then we sold like most of our possessions or put them in storage or trashed them.
Yeah.
And then we started doing the travel thing full time.
That's awesome. So travel nurse, kind of tell me exactly what that is, because I know a little bit about it, because my wife and I are realtors. So now, we do real estate, and we'll have people ask, hey, can I get a bed or can I get somewhere? Do you guys know anywhere for like 2 months? Is that kind of what it is? You just do a little residency and kind of move around?
Like 12 weeks is most contracts, and you just, like, you work for an agency and they have all these contracts and you pick them and they'll interview you, and then you work there for 12 weeks. You can extend like up to a year, and
Okay.
like just
I could
different
see the
contract
draw, right? I could see the draw to that. Did you like it, or was it hard to get settled?
I liked it because I was in the resource pool at Roanoke Memorial, so
Okay.
I floated to all the units, and so I was used to kind of moving around.
Gotcha.
And then, so it's not much structure, but being
Yeah.
a guy, like, you don't get caught up in the like unit drama and all that stuff.
Yes. Yeah, I
And
remember.
it paid really well.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, we're not really like very good routine, organizational type people, either one of us. A lot
Yeah.
of people say like you're supposed to marry your opposite, but we didn't do that.
Yeah.
So I think it fit for both of us.
I did. I did. I am the artist, musician, like that's my brain. And my wife is like the straight and narrow nine. That's her. That's the way she works. Hey, but if my bills wouldn't be paid, I wouldn't have food. I would be eating. I'd probably be eating things off the ground. You know, I'm a primate at nature. You know, I'm just kind of like, I can live on the bare necessities. I like things, but I don't have to have them. So that's why, you know, I was able to travel as well for a living, because it was just like, I'm comfortable wherever I sit. I try to be, at least.
Yeah.
Speaking of bare necessities, our first travel contract, we packed everything, including our 100-pound dog, into the back of our Subaru Forester.
Okay.
Drove, like we were like go big or go home, right? So our first contract was in Arizona.
Oh boy.
In Tempe. So we drove out there and we had no furniture. We did not get a furnished apartment.
Did you have an air mattress?
We had an air mattress,
Okay, all right.
and they were popular at the time. I don't know if they still are. Those sofas that you can like fill up with air, like you run and like you're supposed to fill them up with air.
Oh yeah.
They're made for like the beach.
I remember that.
So we had this great idea that and camping chairs were going to be plenty, you know, for 3 months. It was fine.
How long did it last?
Oh,
12 weeks.
That lasted.
So
all
it
12
lasted the
weeks,
whole
yeah.
first time.
We ended up getting a mattress from someone else because the air mattress, you know, it deflates every night,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So that got old fast. But yeah, we had, you know, no real furniture in that little studio apartment.
But how fun was that?
It was great.
Did you love it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, you know, traveling and seeing things, and I'm a foodie.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can go, I'll always stop. Like if we were somewhere and I saw somebody, I'd be like, hey, best breakfast in town, go, you know?
Yeah.
And I just try. That was my big thing. That and breweries. I loved breweries too.
We
So,
missed out on a lot because we were always on some kind of diet. Like we're like real weird about stuff. And so we
Yeah.
would be like, oh, we're counting macros, or, oh, this 12 weeks stint, because it works out really well for like dieting, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this 12 weeks we're going to do keto. And so I feel like, you know, we missed out on some of that a little bit, but
Yeah. I
I
did.
promise this leads to us getting to the coffee trailer.
No, it's fine. I like hearing about you, you know. Like I was telling them before, you know, listeners, I try not to do much research on folks to make the connection with them genuine right off the bat, you know. And I love it. I'd rather it be like that than knowing, oh, so how did you guys get to this point?
Yeah.
And I know about that point. It's like, no, I'd rather hear it from scratch. So after your first residency, you got a mattress, and where'd you go from there?
Then we drove 34 hours
Straight.
no stops, to Richmond.
Okay.
And so I was like in the heart of,
Oh, gosh.
like at VCU.
Yep.
And then we were in a like just random research sublease apartment and moved everything in. It was gunshots the first night. And we're like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Welcome
had
to
a
Richmond.
lot of we had a lot of friends in Richmond, and so we would have them like drive by, you know, before we moved out there.
Yeah.
And try to like scope it out. And they said it was fine. And then it was fine during the day, but then
Yeah.
at night it was kind of wild.
Yeah.
And so there were usually like gunshots at least every weekend night. And he worked nights that contract, walked
you
to
were-
work.
So you were chilling at the house.
yeah, with our
people.
big dog. It's fine. But we
Yeah.
were on the ground floor.
Okay.
And they had huge windows. Like the whole front of our apartment was like giant windows.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little nerve wracking. But the first night when there was gunshots, it was like down the street. But we had been out with our friends, and we come back, and as soon as we get in, like gunshots. And having been an elementary school teacher, I go into like lockdown mode. I'm like shutting the blinds.
Everybody in the bathroom.
We went and hid in a closet.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, we've been drinking some. Like, so we went, and I was like, we gotta go.
Well, that's fun if you've been drinking.
Yeah.
You're like, kind of like, we like a shot. But yeah.
So we were hiding in the closet, and I was like, Tanner, this is so scary. And he's like, I don't think we have to be in the closet. Like, we're good.
They'll travel through the closet. Yeah. So that residency was good. How
So,
long did
no.
you do that residency thing?
So we would do like a Virginia contract and then an Arizona contract is basically how it worked out.
Okay.
Because
So we stayed home.
Yeah, and then that way
gotcha.
we were home for the holiday. We always worked it out to where we were home for Christmas. He would do since we lived in Roanoke, he could do a contract in Pulaski where all of our
nice.
where all of our family is.
Yeah.
So we would stay with them through the holidays, and it worked out. But we were on our way to Busch Gardens when we were doing this Richmond thing, and we saw an RV. And I was like, I hate this apartment. This is scary. Like, I can't go outside by myself at night. Like, this is not for me. And we passed this huge Class A, the ones you drive, RV. And I was like, how much are those? Like, can we do that cheaper than we're doing this? Because with travel nursing, they can either find housing for you or they can give you a stipend.
Yeah.
And whatever you don't use is your ski.
Yeah.
So I was like, how much does that cost? So that was our next like little piece, was like we were going to do this RV thing.
Okay. And did you get one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got a big Class A, like,
Did you get you a Winnebago?
We
Oh,
were
yeah.
26.
Nice.
It was a Jayco. We were 26 years old, like buying or maybe 25. We may have only been 25, 26, buying a, giant RV.
That's awesome,
was-
man.
it was fun during. It was probably a terrible financial decision, but
Yeah. Yeah, I think
it was fun.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? It's like it's probably around the time where everybody's like, you go on Pinterest and you go on all these things. It's like, oh, they can make that RV awesome, and you're doing this like shiplap this, so I'm gonna shiplap that. I'm gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna have a dog crate and a wood
Oh,
stove. Yeah. It's gonna have. I never have to worry about the black tank. It's fine. It will be fine. That's the worst part about it.
Yes,
in my opinion,
for sure. We bought a brand new one, which like having like if we were to do it over, I wouldn't have done that. But like we would go and look at all these different RVs, and no one took us seriously because we were so young. And we would look at it and I'd be like, yeah, we're going to be doing this for, this amount of years. And so when we have a baby, we're going to put her here and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And like, I'm deconstructing this brand new RV in my mind.
those walls closing quick.
Yeah. So
We made it about 6 months
6 months. Dang.
no. So we had the RV for longer than 6 months.
with the kid.
With the kid. We only had 6 months.
Ah, okay.
So we had the RV. And then after Richmond, we did a Pulaski contract. And then our next one was Lake Havasu City, Arizona.
That's beautiful.
Yes, love it there. If I could move anywhere, like right now, it'd be back there.
Yeah.
So we went out there, and there was a little coffee stand that we would get coffee at every morning when I would drive him to the hospital and drop him off for work. And
Did you drive him in the RV?
No, in the
Okay.
van.
I was gonna say that'd be awesome.
No, we
dude.
weren't. No, this the Forester. We still had the Subaru. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you pulled the Subaru.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm painting the picture in my
And
head what
we
the Squid Billies look
constantly-
like.
Yeah, we constantly bought the wrong vehicles to pull behind an RV. Like not
All-wheel
once.
All-wheel drive, yeah.
Yeah, we never got the right vehicle.
Did you have to dislocate the front drive shafts? How did you do that?
Like a flatbed trailer is what we had to
You
use.
had to pull one of those.
And it was
So once it got
expensive.
off the trailer when we were there, like it didn't go back on.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
You can tell about the coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just went to her like local spot every morning, and it was the best coffee I'd had. And so that was our first time out there. And we came back, and we were back out there again, and we were just friends with her. And like she had some like stoner dudes in there, and I was like, "What was with those dudes like in there?" She was like, "Oh, they were gonna buy my equipment, but they backed out." And I was like, "Oh yeah, how much?" And so she was like, "Oh, just come back and we'll talk about it." And she was like, "What do you?"
I was like, what are you going to do with this? What are you doing? So we went back, and, at this point we had coffee because we were big coffee addicts. Like every time we got in the car, we thought we needed to go get coffee. We spent all of our extra money went to coffee. And we had been to so many different states. And then I traveled for my job at the time too. They would fly me around to film classrooms.
Oh, okay.
And so I had coffee all over the place, but we were like obsessed with this coffee.
Yeah.
And she roasted it herself and like did really cool stuff with the flavors, and we just loved it. So when we went, I dropped him off for work, and the next day we went back, and he was like, all right, how much for this stuff? And she was like $5,000. And he's like, all right, we'll take it.
Dang,
Like
dude.
literally just like that. And I'm like, we don't even have $5,000 like to just give someone.
My man had a vision unbeknownst to you.
So we drove away, and I'm like, Tanner, what are we doing with this? Like, we live in an RV.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know, we'll figure it out.
Dang.
And so that was in March. It was in March because we had just talked to her when
Yeah, it
my
was
parents
like
came out to
COVID
visit.
had just
It was
started.
the end
19.
of, it hadn't even started. It was the end of February, beginning of March, because my parents came out to visit the next week, and I like floated this coffee shop idea. So we had just moved out of our RV into a rental house in Arizona, and we had our little girl, and she was Arlen, and she was right at a year old. And so we were trying to figure out, what we wanted to do with all this coffee equipment.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. That's how, well, I gotta ask how having a child in the RV full time was.
So we have friends. We have 2 sets of friends that live in Airstreams.
Okay.
One of them, actually, they don't anymore, but he renovates Airstreams for people that live in them full time. The other one, but they both had 4 kids in an Airstream. And so
Okay.
we were like, had pretty high expectations because
Yeah.
our RV had, way more room than their Airstreams.
Sure.
But it was more challenging than I expected, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one contract in Charlottesville, no internet at the campsite, like a 6-month-old baby. That was our first contract with the baby. And she had the remote job, so on my days off, we were at coffee shops, and like I was just like walking around shopping centers with Arlen strapped to my chest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's wild.
that was an expensive contract because we
Yeah.
were out trying to do stuff so that I could have Wi-Fi all the time.
Oh yeah.
It was really,
So you're
it was crazy. We were like never
hopping
there.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
People envision RV life like you're sitting around like making s'mores and you know what I mean? I don't think we did that one time when our family came to visit because they expected it.
Yeah, yeah. That's wild, man. My wife and I traveled forever. And I've always wanted to be rooted, but have an RV also. I think that's the only way it would work for us because she's very poshy, put together. Like I can't imagine her like taking a shower anywhere but, like upstairs. Me, I'm just like, hey, let's roll. Hell with it. Let's do it. That's just like kind of my thought process.
So our first time on the way to Havasu, we were leaving and it was like there's this like Arctic blast, like weather thing. And so, because it was like January, and our pipes froze.
Oh, boy.
Leaving from Virginia to go out west. And so
Yeah.
we got out there and the campsite that we had booked. So Havasu's a very like snowbird destination. So it's hard to find campsites as it is. Then we get out there and the one that we had booked was going to be like a 30-minute drive to the hospital. We have one car. So I would have to drive an hour in the morning and an hour at night to
yeah.
take him to work.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is not going to work. There was no internet there. And you had to have all this filtration system because the water was so hard. So I was like, we can't do this. But then we also didn't have any water because our pipes had like frozen up.
Yep.
So we ended up, one of those families I mentioned, we followed them on Instagram and her husband was a travel nurse too. And they happened to be there at the same time. And so I messaged her and I was like, hey, where do you all live? And she's like, oh, come out tomorrow morning and I'll show you. We live in the middle of the desert. So they boondocked in their Airstream, like no hookups or anything, out on it's called the Wash, and it's just nothing.
Yeah.
And so we went out there and we were like, all right, well, I guess we're going to make this work. But we still didn't have any water. Like they at least could fill their tanks.
Yeah.
So we had to like shower at Planet Fitness and
Hey,
really
yeah.
rough it.
whatever you got to do, you got to
Yeah.
do. I know when we did some tours in Canada in the winter, and we had space heaters in our underneath, for our tanks and stuff like that just ran pretty much all the time. They had these little coils that went around. I don't know too much about it. I just know that it would have been terrible if we didn't have water. We didn't shower on the buses. Usually we didn't have to, but yeah, that was very big for a bus. But so you've got all this equipment. You obviously have a plan. I hope he has a plan. Does he have a plan?
No, he basically like made me figure it out.
Just winged it.
Well, we knew like, we wanted to put it in a trailer would be the easiest thing
Yeah.
because
We didn't want to settle yet. We didn't know, do we want to live in Roanoke? Do we want to live somewhere else? Because
Sure.
we had a house in Roanoke still that we were renting out. And so it's like, where do we want to live? What do we want to do? So the trailer was kind of a starting idea.
Gotcha. Is it the trailer you currently have a trailer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me how that came about. Like what was like the goal? You've not roasted coffee before, right? This
Right.
is like the first thing he's like, I like coffee. I'm going to become coffee.
We didn't even have like a coffee maker, like a coffee machine in our house. Like
we bought our coffee out. Like every
Yeah,
time.
really? Dang, man. So you went out on a limb and said, I'm going to do this. I like that. I like your ambition, man.
Well, we shadowed her while we were there, and I started looking for trailers. I found like an old crepe trailer in Utah.
Okay.
So we took the RV up to Utah, got that, and just started doing some of the basics there, like electrical and stuff, and then just brought it back out to Virginia and did all the rest.
he says that like it was so easy. Like
Nothing's
on
easy,
the way
man.
back from Arizona, my parents came out and rode back with us. So like they 2 in the RV and 2 in the van because of COVID, we couldn't even, because we came back in June, end of May, beginning of June of 2020.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get a trailer for the van.
Oh gosh.
And so we were like, well, what do we do? So my parents came out and they rode with him, and my mom rode with me and the kid. And that way we could, move more quickly.
Sure.
And then we were like coming through, I don't know, Oklahoma or somewhere.
I think it was Colorado, and it was like the rolling.
Oh, so then we had a tire blowout, and he didn't know. So it ripped our fender off.
Oh boy.
And then we had to like scramble to get that fixed. And of course it was like right at the time when everything was, it was like 5:00 during COVID, nothing,
perfect.
yeah. Got that fixed. And then we were going through somewhere else. I don't know where we were at, some flat, boring state.
Yeah.
And he calls me. He's like,
Flyover state.
hey, we stopped at this gas station, but the espresso machine fell off of the counter. And this espresso machine was a 1991.
Okay.
So it's already old, and then
Yeah.
it just fell off, into the floor. It was huge. I mean, it was this big.
Yeah, it took like 2 guys to like really strain to lift it, and
Oh man.
So I was panicked. I was like,
So,
we are
yeah.
all in on this, because my
And
job
now-
was making cuts. So Teach for America, they contacted everybody, and they're like, hey, we're going to have to make major cuts because, we don't know what next year's going to look like, blah, blah, blah. We're going to cut like 30% of our, or no, maybe more than that, of our staff.
Oh.
And so my other job, which I was going to keep to kind of like, see how this goes, it was totally up in the air.
Yeah.
And then we had pretty much decided probably wasn't going to do any more nurse contracts because of how things were.
It was a wild time, like
Yeah.
being in the hospitals and stuff. I know the listeners have probably heard this, but I was with the sheriff's department at that time, and we did transports. We were doing ECO transports and TDO transports all across the state, to pretty much every hospital you could think of, right in the heart of COVID. Like it was hitting, and I'm like, okay, I'm healthy. I'll be fine. I wasn't never worried about it. Never got it until later. But, we were doing that, and the lockdowns and all that stuff, everything became difficult. The gas stations were closed. We would be, Logan, did you ever go on a transport to Virginia Beach? I'm going to bring Logan in. Hey, show yourself.
Ooh, you want to? Okay,
Yeah.
let me see if I can.
There he is.
To Virginia Beach, no.
You didn't do one?
I did. I think the worst one I did was on the Virginia Beach side of Richmond,
Okay.
and that was after I had finished a 12-hour shift.
Yeah, that happened a lot. So basically, be gone. All right. So basically, when we would go, it could be 2:00, 3:00 in the morning. Well, every gas station is shut down. Everything's shut down. I'm in a van, with a patient that could have been all the way from having, delusions to freaking like coming off meth. That's basically what it was, which is one and the same. But, and I'm sitting here and I have to fuel up a sheriff's vehicle. I'm like, pull off. Nope. Pull off. So you have to start looking for it like, at a quarter tank to make sure you can find somewhere. That was wild. So
Yeah.
I get it, man.
And, when you drive out west, you go through, miles and miles and miles where there's just nothing
Yeah.
anyways.
190 miles,
Yeah.
flyover states.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild. So when you guys got back, when was that? Was that like April or May?
Middle of June.
June in
Yeah.
2020? Mm-hmm. Okay. What was the next step?
So
you're kind of in limbo,
yeah.
right?
So my job was still, they kept pushing it back. They kept saying like, oh, we'll let you know soon. We'll let everybody know soon. We're trying to decide, whatever. And then he couldn't have gotten a nursing job at the hospital if he wanted one because it was weird. Like you would think they'd need nurses, but they
Yeah.
didn't. I don't know. So we had the money we had
Sure.
and we were trying to figure out, what next. And luckily, it's when we had gotten a lot of the stipend things from the government, random money.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
we used to, like, everybody asks, how did you, fund your business starting out? I'm like, that would be, where all of our money came from.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah. So it worked
put it
out
to
really
good
well.
use.
Yeah.
It's better than buying crack.
Right.
Yeah.
So we did that. We had
God,
to
sorry.
figure out what was the thing that cost so much. Oh, we had to get someone to come out and like install and like tune up this old espresso machine.
Oh, okay.
And so that was a hurdle. And then, then we had everything running and it was like, well, now where do we go? Like in my mind, I thought we were just going to be able to like roll up,
Just
ride
ride up. Coffee.
But luckily, I had spent a lot of time in my Teach for America job learning about marketing and different things like that, because everyone had to sit in on the same trainings about brand and marketing. And so I just took all of that and like applied it to this. And our trailer is yellow only because that's the color it was when we bought
And it was, what was it, a waffle trailer?
It was a crepe trailer.
Crepe trailer.
Yeah.
Same,
And
yeah.
so we were just
Crepe.
like, well, it's yellow. So I guess that's our, our color now.
Space Rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
What in the world? Where did that come from?
So there's a lot of Native Americans in Arizona. So
Yes, there are.
it was a peyote trip and Space Rabbit. Shaman came to me. No.
Dude, I was all in, my friend. Mike's like, hey, dude, it happens, bro.
He watches too much Joe Rogan.
Hey, dude, Joe Rogan, obviously, huge, influence on pretty much every podcaster. But yes, peyote all the time, LSD, shrooms, whatever you got to do. So yeah, back to your ayahuasca.
Yeah, people ask me that all the time, so I try to come up with.
I love it.
I need to
Mess
tell
with
some
them.
story like that,
I
but
think it should probably be the one your go-to. just see what people think. You had me going. I was like, yeah, okay,
This is taking
cool.
a turn, guys.
Love it. I've got Native American friends. Yeah.
But yeah, so our favorite coffee shop in Charlottesville was Snowing in Space, and we like space themed things. And
Okay.
we wanted something memorable, and
Yeah.
so I wanted a mascot.
He wanted a mascot. I said it'd make branding easier.
It's true. I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, your brand is, it's got to be memorable and visual. It's
Yep.
just ultimately for it to work. So Space Rabbit, there's got to be something. Was it just like thrown out?
We were really just throwing out anything because he's a big Dave Matthews fan.
Okay.
And so I was trying to go do something with that, but then I quickly realized that everything's like trademarked.
Tripping
Yeah.
Billies.
Well, yeah, that too. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, this isn't going to work. We're going to have to come up with something else. So he was like, we were trying to come up with like a noun and an animal, right? Like something and then an animal.
Yeah.
And he's like, space, coffee like blasts you off into space. Like you get so much energy.
Okay.
And then rabbits have a lot of energy. So it's,
Okay. See, I didn't even put it together yet.
Yeah.
I just did. All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so-
Mike is in the house tonight. Mikey Barber. He is like the Carter Buford
oh, cool.
that I know. He is one of the best drummers I had known to man. So
Nice.
shout out to Mikey. What's up, buddy? So, so you put Space Rabbit together, right? Did you have? Is there a wrap on the trailer? Did you get to do
It's
all
just a
that? or
decal.
Just a decal.
I did all the branding.
I think it's cool.
Thank you.
I think it looks really good. It's memorable. You can put that logo just up, and
Yeah.
people notice it. So how are things going? So we've got it. It's installed. Was there a learning curve? Did you burn everything?
No, we chatted, so we knew we had the coffee side down.
Okay.
Just getting everything set up was a lot, because we had 2 Honda 7000 generators. Those are heavy duty. They take up the whole truck. So
Yeah.
I had to find a place where we could park this big long rig, and
Yeah.
we thought Roanoke would be, because we lived in Roanoke and it was a bigger place. We're like, oh, Roanoke will be. So we started setting up downtown, but COVID was still a thing. So
Yeah.
so it was kind of dead. And then our business really took off in Dublin, because we're both from Dublin. So we ended
Okay.
up doing a lot of days in Dublin.
Where'd you go
And,
in Dublin?
So, do you know Adam Ferris? Ironheart Winery?
Yeah. Okay.
So, I was talking to my dad on the phone the first day we were open, because I was like, man, this is slow. And this is not, what I expected. I thought all these people would be out. And he was like, you need to come to Dublin. He's like, people, we can get the word out faster. We need to figure this out.
Yep.
So he said, what about that building that's nothing across from McDonald's in Dublin? And I was like, well, yeah, but I can't just, show up.
Yeah.
I have to call someone. And so I called and spoke with them, and they were like, yeah, at the time it was a, what is that?
Meth?
No,
Oh.
related to medicine though. Some sort of lab.
Dispensary?
No, it was a lab, where
Okay.
they take medicine. I don't know.
Oh, it's like one of those that you send it off to have your
Yeah.
blood work done, like a lab core.
Yes, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
something like that.
Boom, nailed it.
So he was like, yeah, we're not open on Saturdays and Sundays, so you can come then.
Cool.
And so we did a Saturday there, and it was just wild. I mean,
That's
totally
awesome.
different. Yeah.
Do you guys have music playing, and do you
Yeah.
create an atmosphere? Good.
Yeah.
I was going to advise to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry.
So then that was like a big, to us, I guess it was like a $500 day, and that was
Yeah,
like really
dude.
big.
Hell yeah.
Then, we had this huge long line, and then we started doing Dublin, more and more and more.
Yeah. Good. So when did you decide brick and mortar was a good way to go? What kind of drove you to that?
I mean, we
Or
were
do you
hesitant.
still think it's a bad idea?
No, it's going well, but like I kind of pushed it off for a while because we had several opportunities, but they weren't like the trailer's so low overhead. Like
Yeah.
business is bad somewhere. You
Yeah.
go,
You can
go
move.
somewhere
You
else.
don't have to be stuck
Yeah.
somewhere.
Go to events, but we found the place we're current at. It was a Lone Max, like had the drive through already.
Yeah.
Like
I remember that. I was sitting there thinking when I was thinking, I was like, what used to be in that building? I remember it was like, at one point, I feel like it was like a tobacco store or something.
That's beside of us.
Is that beside you?
Yeah.
Dang. I lost my own bet. Carry on.
another plus of having the
Yeah.
pop over there all the time.
Yeah, right. You can go get your ayahuasca. Or
Bad for my nicotine habit, but
Zens, the whole, like every single person that we employ now, it's like all about these Zens.
What is that
it's just like a nicotine pouch that like you put.
in your
It's
eye?
kind of like
In
dip,
your
but
eye?
you can you put it in your upper lip instead of. It's like I
Okay.
used to dip, and then I've switched to that, and
To Zen.
you don't have to like carry a spit bottle around with you. And
Oh, so you can swallow it and do
Yep.
the whole thing. It sounds like you might get sick.
if you
I
don't-
would get sick probably because I don't smoke or I don't do it. You know.
we gave one to our barista one day.
Oh boy.
Because like we all did it, but
Yeah.
she doesn't do any nicotine products.
Oh
And she was like, "You guys talk about this all the time." Like, we finally talked her into taking one,
yeah.
and she had to sit down. She wasn't a very
Ooh,
good barista for
green.
20-30 minutes.
I remember when I was growing up, my buddy, he would always had a big chaw of red man in, even at like 14. This was just Reiner. That's where I grew up.
Yep.
And we were at my house and we had the window up so we could spit out the window, you know, and it's the first time I'd put a chaw in. And I got a big old chaw of red man long cut. You know, I love the taste of it. And I had my jaw was full, like big league chew full, and I just remember spitting, and we're talking, you know, and I'm probably acting a little more country, you know, because I had the chaw in, and next thing I know, I'm like, "Phew, you hot?" You know, I was like, I'm getting hot. I'm getting like really hot. And he was like, oh, he's like, you don't do this. And I was like, no. He was like, you're going to be sick. I was like, Justin. And he was like, you better go outside and get some air, dude, because you're in for a ride. And it was. I remember walking through the woods and throw up, you know. That sucker was like an hour and a half of like, the Lord did not have good intentions for me that day. He was like, you're going to learn. You're not going to do this. You're not going to dip or do any of that. So, because I probably would have been super addicted to it. But Zen.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey, you ever had a Zen?
I have.
You on a Zen right now?
I do not.
Got
Okay.
some Zens right on.
You got your pocket full of Zens.
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan?
I give them all a hard time about it.
Karen,
I know.
stop.
It's true.
Does it, it impedes their work?
I think they think it helps their work.
Oh, it does. It's a neurostimulator.
I'll bet.
Prevents against Alzheimer's.
Okay.
Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson.
Okay. Tucker's, yeah, then we're good.
He
So-
has a Zen in 24/7.
Does he? Really? That's wild. So it's like a neurotropic or
supposed to
however
be.
you say it, nootropic.
Yeah, who's that? Andrew Huberman. He's a big nicotine, he's a pro nicotine guy.
See, it is. It's a work enhancer. I've heard. You know, I don't do it. You know, I do Alpha Brain. That's about as far as I go. You know, with those. I've done the Shroom Tech. You know, which is on it products before. You know, but yeah, I've never done nicotine. I've just never been. Well, I had my time when I thought I was cool and I'd smoke Newports.
Oh gosh.
I listened to like Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and smoked Newports, and yeah, it was cool. I was living my best life. Sorry, but go ahead. I was just having a moment there, a moment of Zen. But yeah. So once you're in there in your brick and mortar, right? That was a Lone Max, right? Did you do the whole inside? I have
No,
not been in
this
there.
is a process. Well, not many people have. So it's drive-through only.
Oh, okay. That's why I haven't been in
Yeah.
there. See, I told you.
And you wouldn't believe how many people come in or try to come in. It was a process. So it was last July. We signed the lease last May.
Okay.
And then it was July when we announced we were going to be opening it because they had told us that they would have the building ready July 1st.
Okay.
And we were like, oh, yeah, July. Start hiring people, training them so they're ready. And then, we didn't open until the last weekend in January.
Oh.
Yeah.
So was it the build out that was the thing, or permits, or?
So the
All of it.
landlord, he
the
did all the like converting it for us.
Okay.
They had to
With
take out a
his
safe,
contractors, yeah.
Oh.
like a bank vault.
Yeah,
So that was one thing.
We have a
That's not-
door by the window now.
Okay.
And that was they just blew a hole out of the wall and took the safe and
Wow. I was going to
Put a
say that
door.
doesn't just fit out anywhere.
That was a really big deal. Like at first they were like, you're just going to have to leave this here. And we were like,
Jeez.
nope.
just work around a big safe.
Yeah. So was it like right in the middle of the room? Or
It was
type
in the
situation?
corner, but
It was
Big- it was
humongous. It
big.
was an eyesore too.
Okay.
The whole inside was kind of an eyesore. I was like, they were talking about all these like major things they were going to have to do. And I was like, and can you just like paint it all white? And they're like, that's what you're worried about? I'm like, yeah, sure. We can paint it all white.
Whitewash this thing.
Yeah.
Killer. So you obviously had to get a new setup,
Oh, yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
full new deal for the brick and mortar.
Yeah.
What did you do there?
so like we basically just got a bigger espresso machine than we have currently.
Okay.
And so like we knew all the equipment, so we got all that back in July because
We thought we were going to open. So we
Sure.
had this huge business loan
Yeah.
and all of this equipment. And then we weren't making any extra income to pay on the business loan.
Oh boy.
So things were really fun.
So it's
when
hard to build and make money.
Yes.
And,
Yeah. So in January, it came to the point where we were like, look, we have to get because things just kept getting drawn out.
Yeah.
And I was like, it looks, like we're not making any progress right now. Like we have got to get this finished or like it's not going to happen because we're out of money.
Yeah.
So then things sped up a little bit.
Okay. You got a little fire
Karen.
in there. Karen'd it. You Karen the heck out of it. Listen, who do I need to talk to?
No, they were all really nice guys. It was just, we were on a different timeline
Sure.
because it was our livelihood.
Yeah. Sometimes
It
you
didn't
gotta-
matter as much to other people as it did to us because it was
Yeah.
like, we got to pay the bills, we got to feed our kids.
Yeah, you got to shank, every now and then. So, were you still running the trailer and all that stuff?
Yeah.
How many people do you have on staff now?
Like 7
Dang.
or 8 maybe. So we have
need to hire more.
we do need to hire
Yeah.
more. So yeah, we just had a couple give their notice. They're on to bigger and better things, I guess.
Yeah. So is that kind of like normal? I guess that would be kind of normal. Do you get
Yeah.
like college age kids and
Yeah.
not kids, but young adults?
Yeah.
So they're just kind of doing their thing for a little bit. That makes sense.
His sister has been with us and his cousin have been on staff with us for the longest. I was going to say Mackenzie's the youngest, but she's not anymore. My cousin is. So our youngest employee is 19.
Okay.
And then
Well,
he's
we've
the
got
oldest.
A couple high schoolers. that
Oh
just
yeah, we
started.
do have a couple high schoolers that just started.
But
Yeah, so 17, I guess. And then he's the oldest, so that's kind of
I got
the
you.
bracket there.
I got you. Sorry if you hear stuff. I have kids upstairs.
Oh,
You
it's
know,
all good.
they're
We have
wild.
kids, so it's fine. We have a 4-year-old and a 11-month-old.
I got you. So let's do this. Let's take a quick commercial break.
Okay.
And when we come back, I want to hear about your flavors.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
want to hear about all the goodness that comes up out y'all's stuff.
Sounds
All right, we'll be right back.
awesome.
Hello?
Hey, Drew, it's Rob with Thacker Real Estate Group. I actually got your number from Brad. He had mentioned that you had a house to sell in Virginia.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we actually met. Yep, that's me. Hey, I thought you might want to chat. I'm in the area right now and would love to stop by.
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Oh, nice. What are you watching?
Oh, just some scary movie.
I love scary movies, actually. If you have time, I'd love to stop by and talk about selling your house.
Uh-huh.
The first time we talked, you said that you might have been talking with someone else.
No.
I know for a fact that you're talking to another realtor.
What did you say?
I said I know for a fact that you are talking to another realtor. You want to play these games, answer the phone like, hello, and all that stuff. We went to dinner with Brad and Angie like 2 weeks after that party, and you're sitting here talking to me about selling your house, and now I find out it's somebody else?
Ugh, look, I gotta go.
It just kind of hurts, Drew. I thought we had something. We had such a connection. I just want to know who. I just want to know who.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger.
No, that's more lies. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what you're watching right now on TV. You can end it now. Just tell me who, Drew. Tell me who it is.
The guy in the white mask who walks around and stalks babysitters.
Oh, I knew it. Oh my gosh. Of all the people that you could have used. Bye, Drew. Like, this is goodbye. Oh, we're back. If you don't know, now you know. We use that commercial break as a potty break. Sometimes people get back in time and sometimes people don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to Tanner for a second while Miss Lindsey powders her nose. Is that proper?
Sure.
Powder your nose? Perfect. So we're brick and mortar, right? How often are you guys still making the trips out with the trailer and doing that?
We try to run 4 or 5 days a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have like a whole crew that's like their sole thing, or are you doing a lot of it?
It was me and my sister were like the two main ones, and then we had a few others, but I was the only one who could drive the trailer.
Ah, okay.
But now Lindsay's cousin works for us, and he's able to drive the trailer. He's a big country boy, so he's been hauling trailers.
Been hauling trailers a while.
So
where
he's been stepping in.
Where do you find your most, I guess, your support? You know, do you have like places that these people just know you're coming? They know that you're going to be there, and they're setting up and they're rocking and they're good to go.
Yeah, Friday.
Come on, man, you're good.
Friday mornings we've been doing Dublin.
Okay,
like that's our most consistent spot, our most OG customers. So
yeah,
it's always busy, and then we go to Vet Med every Wednesday, and
okay,
that's a pretty loyal crowd.
Gotcha. So are you still at the same place in Dublin? Still rocking the same?
It's been several businesses, but same place.
I gotcha.
Yeah, my buddy, he was a groomsman at my wedding. It's his dad he owns the whole building and the whole complex. So
awesome.
He lets us set up there and whenever we want.
So do you find that is still like your bread and butter? Is that kind of your deal, or now it's more the drive-through?
It's pretty much 50-50, but the drive-through is just a little more overhead and stuff. So we're just scratching the surface on it, I think. So
that's good, man.
Need to get on the interstate signs and
yeah. I mean, that is kind of like one of those things. You know, we had Scott Rockefeller, who is going to be opening up that brewery in Pulaski.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we had him on the podcast and we talked about that, and it's like, I don't know if they do the same thing for like the coffee tours. You know, a lot of people love traveling like you guys did, like I did, like all of us that traveled. They love finding cool breweries. What is it? What is the word for a brewery for a coffee?
Like a roastery?
Roastery? Is that right?
Just like a coffee shop.
Make it up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Coffee shop. Dang it. What is it? Beanery? Beanery. I guess it is a beanery. I don't know. But, you know, people do that. They find their spots, and then when they travel, they just they get used to stopping at those spots. So, you know, getting on those signs would probably be a really good. I bet that's expensive. Have you checked into it?
And people are trying to get away from Starbucks at all costs.
Oh,
like
God,
it's like the last option, but they're more willing to try local places.
Yeah.
Stuff. So
my wife does it. You know, I like the nitro, like the cold brew.
Mm-hmm.
That's about as far as I go, you know.
I'm wanting to get into that.
Yeah. What's that process? Do you know?
I mean, we already do the cold brew, so like I just make big batches of that every week, and it stays good for 2 weeks, but like we blow through it.
Yeah.
But
how big of a batch do you do?
5 pounds of coffee, and it makes like three gallons of like concentrate. So we make cold brew lattes with it.
Okay.
And then the nitro, that's pretty concentrated stuff. So you cut it a little bit, and then you just have a system that infuses it with nitrogen.
Nice.
But I've got like a whipped cream canister that I've been like trying it out on, where you can do like 1 glass at a time.
That's basically you're doing whippets.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Nice, dude. Cool. So that's where the Space Rabbit came from, a whippet.
Right.
It's hard to get the CO2 shipped to you because
I bet.
Oh my gosh, they gave me a really hard time about it.
They regulate it like ammo.
Yeah. They were like, this is a residential, because we have it shipped to our house, because it was easier with the coffee trailer.
Sure.
And they were like, this is a residential address. We can't ship this. I was like, well, you shipped it
CO2?
2 weeks ago. Yeah. And then
how much are you buying?
I guess I was buying too much. Like they would only allow you to purchase one order every month. And I was
Okay.
trying to order like, I don't know, 4 in a month. That was,
You're on a registry
yeah.
somewhere right now. They're watching you. To whippets.
So they go to a lot of music festivals, and now they're
Yeah. Okay. So we've got a pattern here. Lake Havasu, whippets.
party people.
She hit her head. We've got medical records of her hitting her head because of whippets. So the nitro process, you just introduce the nitrogen into it. Is it kind of like with a stone, like you would aerate when brewing, or?
I don't know how the actual big systems do it, but you have like the keg that you put your concentrate in, and it's kind of like beer.
Okay.
Puts in like the carbonation. You just put in nitro instead of.
So it probably is, like with beer, you oxygenate it, so that your yeast can live and it's just good. So it's probably the same thing. You put like that stone in there, like you see in fish tanks, and stuff like that, and it just literally leaks. It's like a pure leak of nitrogen. That would be my uneducated guess. This is what you do. I need you to do more research about it.
I'm just getting the taste down, but
Yeah.
we're getting things smooth here before I go in. I had a whole nother.
Yeah, I'm sure
Another
it's
mess.
like a whole big process. I think they had like an Irish cream nitro cold brew that was really good around St. Patrick's Day. If I might have made that up completely.
No, I think that's right.
But that's about the only thing I can do there. That and the birthday cake pops, boy.
My kid, yeah,
I
she's
could
obsessed.
just done.
I've been trying those. They're a little more labor intensive than.
Yeah.
I
So
got-
you guys do you guys do snacks? You got
We do
snarks?
donuts,
now. Look, we turned down donuts 2 times. We turned down donuts at 2 different opportunities.
Okay.
And then the third time, our landlord that we are leasing from was like, look, if you guys are going to do this, cool, whatever, but I really think you need to do donuts.
Yeah.
And we were immediately like, no, we're not doing donuts. But he was really adamant about it. And so we prayed about it.
Okay.
We're both Christians, and we, really were trying to be prayerful about it and see, like, this keeps coming up. Like, is this something we need to, like,
Sure.
Consider? And were you familiar with Mama Crockett's?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
big time.
So
Yeah.
we had been setting up with them as many opportunities as we could because
I
it was
bought
just
many a 6-pack. Sorry.
so it was always a really good day when we could get the coffee trailer beside of Mama Crockett's.
Yeah.
We both
Makes
benefited.
sense.
Yeah. And we had been praying about this donut thing, and I was laying down with their daughter trying to get her to sleep one night real late, and I woke up and got on Instagram, and the first thing I see is the Mama Crockett's owner guy saying that they were closing. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And they were going to be selling all their stuff.
That was weird. I was like, you guys are killing the game.
It was
right?
strange. So then I call him and I tell him, and he's like, you're never going to believe this. I was just sitting at Kroger's, like in the parking lot, about to go in and get milk for the coffee trailer, and was praying that, like, if we're supposed to do these donuts, God, like, send me a sign.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if this isn't a sign, I don't know what is.
True. Yeah. So you guys were both on the same wavelength.
Yeah. But
And then
we
he
kinda
bought
hate
it and you and then you showed up with it.
Yeah, him and my dad went and bought the donut machine.
Dang, so that was the real deal Holyfield. You've got Mama Crockett's donut machine.
I've got their OG donut machine, like the one they originally started on. So
Okay.
like, they got bigger ones since, but
Sure.
so it's not as big of a donut machine as they were rolling with, but
Yeah.
I mean, it cranks out good enough for us right
Go
now.
nuts.
So
Go nuts, man. Dang. What about Route 8 donuts?
I don't know what
That's
is
weird.
with that. Yeah, that's
So
weird too.
what's funny is, like, I have this little thing in my head that I'm going to do comedy at some point, and I watch Facebook, and every 2 to 3 days there for the longest time on everything Christiansburg
Yes.
or whatever, they'd be like, anybody know what's going on? Signs been down they closed, but maybe they out. I don't, and I'm like, I just want to go. I thought the longest time I'm going to go out there and do daily reports in front of Route 8 Donuts. They're still closed.
That's
We don't know
hilarious.
why they're still closed, because people freak out. It's a small town, y'all.
I do. I'm like, I want to, like, wave them all down now and be like, hey,
Yeah.
we have donuts over here.
That's what you should do. Just do like a guerrilla campaign and just, like, smear your, like, donut things all over Route 8 Donuts windows. Right?
Well,
I know
see,
the dude.
I
Like,
tried
that
to
owns it. He's a really
contact
nice
him.
guy. Okay.
So, like, back when all this was going on with Mama Crockett's, I was they were kind of like MIA, right? Well, maybe not quite yet, but he was posting on a Facebook group I found for like donut makers. I don't know, like donut bakers.
Yeah.
And
Baker, right?
yeah, it was like a Facebook group for that. And he was like giving all this advice to people that were trying to like open up donut shops all across the country.
Okay.
And I didn't know it was him. I just saw that someone posted like this guy posted that he was in Christiansburg and was going to be selling some donut equipment.
Yeah.
And I was like, who in the world is this person? And so I had to like, I tracked him down, and then I realized it was the Route 8 guy. But he never got back to me. And then shortly after that is when they, kind of like mysteriously shut down. So I don't know.
Christiansburg needs to know.
Yeah.
The true story behind this.
Yes.
I heard the building was sold, so I mean, I don't think they're ever.
I think that's what it
reopening.
is. So my thing is there was an equipment issue.
Mm-hmm.
The supply chain was junk.
Mm-hmm.
And then the building got sold, and it just kind of, that whole little area. My dad owns 2 pieces of property behind there, and he was kind of approached to sell. So word on the streets is that it's sold.
To Carillion is what I heard.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I think they were supposed to do like some like medical buildings or something, which is
kind of a weird.
just not a good spot for that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's right off the interstate. I get that, but do it in Radford where the hospital's at. I don't know. I just always envisioned that little area right there not being medical facilities.
Yeah.
Some mom and pop diner come in that you can hit when you're traveling. That was like my idea. Sorry, I'm nobody in this, but that's what I was hoping would happen.
Yeah.
So you've got the donut machine. Do you go mobile with your donuts or?
Nope, just at the shop. So.
Ooh, exclusivity.
What?
Yeah, like
You put them on the coffee tray.
I mean, I make them there, and
Tanner,
I send some.
I need you to get your story right.
He's like, no, only at the drive.
No, only at the-
True. Don't say that.
We don't make them on the
Oh, you don't
trailer.
make them on the trailer,
Yeah.
but you
He's
sell
gonna-
them on the. Okay,
He's gonna have people Facebook messaging me left and right now. No.
that's so. What is the process? Like, how do you even do that?
So I can see why he doesn't do donuts anymore.
Oh.
Like he was doing the yeast ones. Like you have to let them rise, and
Okay,
you have to get in there like 1 o'clock in the morning, and
yeah, they were in there like butt crack of dawn,
yeah.
super early.
So we do cake donuts. So it's you pretty much just mix your batter, like let it rest for like 10 minutes, and then you
Cake
can
donuts.
crank out the donuts. Yeah, that's what Mama Crockett's is.
That's what they were. That was that like
Theirs were apple
consistency?
cider, but they're very similar.
Okay, they had their own little thing. I really liked their cinnamon ones. Those were
Yeah.
delightful.
We used
Yeah.
to get them for free when we'd set up beside of them. They'd be like, here's some donuts. Here's some
I'm like,
coffee.
oh
cool.
no, I'm trying to be good,
Yeah.
but I can't turn down
Yeah, Mama
these hot
Crockett.
donuts.
My wife would always send me out. She'd be like, "Go get us some donuts and get some and take them up to Mom and Dad." I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it," just because they were so good. So, how long have you guys been doing that?
Since we opened the drive-through. So, well, he'd been experimenting with them in our house, but they weren't turning out until,
We
I
did
don't
them at
know,
an
the
event.
week they opened. Then they started being really good.
Okay,
Yeah, I set up in an event for, I guess it was a fall event,
Yeah.
to kind of trial it out, and then like put them in the shop, and then we've had them since day one.
Awesome.
I'm still trying to like experiment with them, and
yeah,
like I don't have like an official donut menu. It's just like donut specials and
just what you try.
just whatever I'm feeling for the day.
That's awesome, man. See, I like that freedom and creativity, not being stuck to one thing. It's just like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna throw some Fruity Pebbles on these. I'm gonna do this to this one.
Yeah.
It's like I brewed beer for a long time, and I would always experiment with like just these random, flavors to see if I could make it translate. And sometimes it was like, oh, and sometimes it was like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Still gonna drink it, but this is terrible. Speaking of that, could I get you guys a drink? You okay? You good? It's up to you.
I'll have a drink. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Sure. Why not?
All right, so I have Founders is a really, I love all the stuff that they make. It is absolutely fabulous. I will slow pour this so it doesn't go crazy. This is it's a stout. There you go. And this is their, what do they call this? Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels.
I've had coffee aged in bourbon barrels.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like when I was in Nashville, I did kind of my thing is I like to use local ingredients. There you go, brother. And so I would try to find like local coffee shops, and if they roasted their own beans or anything like that, I'd try to get something local. I'd be like, hey, give me something that you think would go well with chocolate or go well with whatever, and then I'd do the beer like that. So what do you think?
Good.
Yeah, it's a good one. Are you a beer drinker? You like?
I went through a phase where, I mean, in college, I drank anything.
Sure.
It didn't matter what it tasted like. Me and my friend would drink Crystal Light packets in vodka, and that was it.
Okay. You're living wild.
Yeah.
Was this at Lake Havasu?
This was at Longwood University in Farmville. There wasn't anything else to do.
Longwood's game is strong.
Yeah.
Crystal
If we
Lights.
would have found Havasu for spring break in college, it would have been bad
Been
news.
over.
Yeah. Us and our friend Josh probably wouldn't have made it back. Yeah. I don't know what I was saying.
Just beer and Crystal
Beer.
Light.
Oh, beer. Beer. I went through like an IPA phase.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
after having kids, I don't drink much anymore.
Yeah,
It's different.
after I had kids, it changed my palate too.
Yeah, I was a big IPA guy, but I started getting migraines, and so
Really?
I had to pretty much, like, I can still do like some like seltzers depending on
Yeah.
how the alcohol's aged, but
Yep.
I pre-medicated
Okay, cool.
tonight. So.
So you know what I found out? I had an allergy to certain yeast strains. The one that's in Bud Light, instant migraine.
Yep.
I had migraines for a long time, but the root of all my migraines was my blood pressure. And when I got my blood pressure in check, I'm on Lisinopril and a couple things now, and I eat better. They stopped. It was instantaneous. Like I could, because I was a tour manager and I did all the music festivals and did all that stuff. And I could tell whenever I was super stressed out, my blood pressure was up, I wasn't eating good, doing all this stuff. It was the perfect concoction for a migraine. I never got the opticals or anything like that. It was just full on face murder. It was like, I'm done. I have to go somewhere quiet, put some binaural beats on, and try to live, just try to survive. I thought I was striking out a couple times, bro.
Yeah, it's a different level. Like people who don't have them, like
They don't know.
yeah,
I don't get him, and I have no idea. And
Yeah.
I remember when he was a travel nurse, and we had our daughter, and we lived in the RV, and he would get a migraine, and I would just be like, "What am I supposed to do?" Like, you.
That's about it, right?
Yeah, he was just like,
off
"Leave
all
me
the lights."
alone,
Yeah,
leave."
dude. Yeah, it's miserable, and the worst is when you're somewhere that you can't do anything about it. What kills me is people they'll post on Facebook or something. Oh man, I've had a migraine all day. It's like, no, you've had a headache because if you're posting on Facebook right now, you had a
You're looking
headache.
at that screen.
Yeah, dude. I was coming back from somewhere when I was young, and I remember even the dash lights at night were too much.
Mm-hmm.
It was just too much. It's wild, man. So get your blood pressure checked, man. You might be dying.
I told him that.
Good when I check it, but I mean, maybe it like alcohol makes me.
Yeah, it could be an
makes it
allergy
go
too,
up or-
man. Like, have you noticed certain beers do it or certain things do it?
So I told you we
Definitely.
do all the dieting, right?
Yeah,
So like when we do Whole30,
yeah.
no migraines.
But I'll still get them some
Preservatives
in Virginia.
MSG.
Like, I mean, it's definitely a food thing, but like the pressure systems here, I feel like mess with me some too.
I gotcha. Yeah,
But because Arizona, I didn't have any migraines ever, which I mean, we
Yeah.
tended to eat better out there too.
a deviated septum.
Probably snores really bad.
Do you? Sorry, I'm playing doctor to the nurse here.
I don't
I'm
think
just telling you, I have gone through it, my friend. It
Yeah.
sucks because I've got a deviated septum, and anytime I wear anything that puts pressure on my shoulders or my back, like I used to mountain bike all the time, and I'd wear a helmet, and it was like clockwork. If I did that,
I do get them with mountain biking. I thought it was like the exertion, but maybe it's
so
something
do you
with the
wear
helmet.
anything on your back?
I mean, I normally have a backpack, like a small backpack and
Yeah,
helmet.
yeah. You are me. Tanner, hi. No, but seriously, like once I figured out I can't even wear certain shirts that like push against my neck too much, like at work. It'll give me a headache. It'll just give me, a headache. But like migraines, it's just a completely different level. So, well,
Yeah, and caffeine, like I drink espresso all the time, so
yeah, it doesn't
like,
bother me.
it makes you dehydrated easy, so I have to watch.
Yeah,
drink more
dehydration
water.
will do it too. Yeah. Sorry. So we're back. Tanner has high blood pressure and he's got hypertension. And snores and a deviated septum and all sorts of stuff. So what are you guys envisioning for? Are you planning on expanding further? Yeah.
Yeah. So he's laughed at me ever since I quit teaching, even before really. I was always like trying to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, yay, we did it. But like when we opened this, I was like, I want to be a big brand. I don't just want to be like this one little thing in, some small town, Virginia. Like I want to, I want to be big. So I always tell people that I want to have like 10 drive-throughs.
Yeah.
And so, I think we'll expand more, but it's just a matter of figuring out a better, faster way to do it. We like to do everything pretty quick. Like when we bought the coffee trailer, we went to Utah in April. We opened in June. We opened in June.
Ain't no time for half stepping.
Yeah. So we like to do stuff quick. And this last drive-through was just not our jam. Like it was way too slow.
You think it was like the building itself in hindsight? Like you should have...
Yeah, and relying on like the landlord's contractors.
Sure.
Like I'm paying the contractors.
Yeah, we were very grateful. We would not have been able to do it if we had to pay the contractors.
Yeah.
I don't want to like...
He's been a great landlord.
Yes.
Like he's really great, but
you kind of were just
I
at
need
the
more
mercy
control
of
of
Yeah,
that.
we were at the mercy of them.
I get
And,
it.
town permits and different things.
you pay, you got expenses going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should have just said, yeah, you guys, while I'm building this thing out, we're just going to let you do
Well, we
this.
didn't have to pay rent.
Oh, okay. Well, he did that.
But we still had to pay on our business loans we had taken out. That was the issue.
Copy.
Yeah.
And we'd hired some extra staff to kind of, because like we got a lot of drinks. Like it takes a lot of training to
Yeah, I'm sure.
get somebody, because we're big on, we want to be rolling people through fast.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. Like that's the whole thing behind Space Rabbit, other than ayahuasca. Right? So I see you guys putting up just massive amounts of flavors and like cool, like it looks like iced coffees and like all these cool things. Like where do those ideas come from? How many do you have? Is it revolving or are you just kind of like throwing stuff at the wall? It's like, this will work.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, that's good.
So I did all of our original, like we got some ideas from the lady that we learned everything from in Arizona.
Okay.
And we just like changed some names to make the drinks on brand. And then we started realizing really quickly that if we had a special drink of the week or the day or whatever, that people would come just, to try this like special thing.
Oh, yeah.
So then we started playing around with that, and I do all of our I'm very rarely at the coffee shop or the coffee trailer. I do all of our like marketing, branding. If you call, you get me. If you message us on Facebook or Instagram, you get me.
Yep.
And I did all of our menu stuff. But like he gives input and then we kind of come up with it together.
Yeah.
And then our baristas have been really good at coming up with different drinks because, they're in there, just you can only drink so many of the same things during the day. So they'll be like,
stroke out
let's
if I had too much.
yeah, like let's just, mess around and try this. So Lucas and Mackenzie, they've came up with some really good drinks. And we just tried out. We have, I did this big business competition called the Gauntlet program out of Vinton.
Okay.
And we had to like do a big business plan, and I had to go through all of our drinks, and we have 9 seasonal menus that we rotate through.
Okay.
And then since then we've even added a couple of others like the flavor verse, which I've been told I'm never allowed to bring back because all of our employees hated it so much.
Like all this extra stuff, like everything.
It's like over the top.
Shaken, like all kinds of drizzle,
Toppings.
toppings.
I got you. You know what just hit me? Sorry. Use it, or you probably have already done it. You need to put those little tiny round, what's the cereal that's like cocoa? What's the little round ones?
Cocoa
Puffs?
Or Cocoa Puffs, yeah.
Yeah. You need to put those on it and call it like rabbit turds. Do like a rabbit turd donut. Sorry.
Yeah, we sell
There you
chocolate covered espresso beans.
Okay.
And
Are those
I
called?
wanted to do rabbit droppings, but she said that wasn't.
So I was thinking in my head as my brain was going, I was like, Rob, don't say turds, because that would be really hard to market unless you did it right. But droppings just never hit my palate, so I apologize. So you already have some turds on your menu.
I rein in the names. Like him and his cousin Lucas, they'll come up with some really good funny names,
Yeah.
but they're like not appropriate.
I got you.
I mean, they're not. They're
Tanner.
just a little too edgy.
No,
Throw
some
a
of them
couple
are
at me.
really
Throw a
bad.
couple at me, Tanner.
All right.
So Bunny Bliss was originally going to be what?
The Play Bunny.
Play Bunny.
Okay.
But
Like-
then we set up at a lot of churches. Like we're a
yeah.
Christian-owned business.
Sure.
Like I'm not trying to
Understood.
offend anyone.
I got you. See, you're living on the edge, bro.
Yeah.
I do that because my wife and I were Christian. We have faith and all that stuff. But I am constantly pushing that. Like, can I get not in a bad way, but just
So-
like play bunny.
Yeah,
you know?
like on Good Friday, Thursday night, I was posting what we were going to be doing on Friday.
Yeah.
And we were doing, what was it? The maple bacon donut for the first time.
Okay.
And so I really wanted to put on our Instagram, like, maple bacon donuts, talk about a Good Friday. And
I accept you. I accept that.
I ran it by a few of our church friends, and they're like, no, I don't.
Come on,
I don't think
man.
so.
See, but like at a certain point, you just got to kind of chill.
Yeah.
Love the Lord. He understands you got to chill.
I was like, maybe people will ask, like, if they don't know, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? Like, Good Friday, what? And
Yeah. That's
maybe.
a good way to
Yeah.
spread the faith. Well, good on you. But yeah, play bunny might be, or whatever it was.
I got
Yeah.
Cracked Rabbit. I got it.
Cracked
through,
Rabbit?
I approved
it made
that
it
one.
on there.
Okay,
Yeah.
cracked. I guess if it was cracked out rabbit, it would be
Maybe.
different.
But see, it's got 2 extra shots of espresso in it, so you are kind of cracked out.
Okay, so yeah. So what's your fan favorite?
White Rabbit, probably. That's white chocolate and caramel.
Okay,
Which
And
he
then-
did not like at first. That was totally my thing. I was
All
like,
right.
this is what it's going to be good. This is what I want. And
yeah.
he was like, oh, it's gross.
You got to go with the girl, man. They got that palate,
I
bro.
say all the time, I am the target customer.
Yes.
I market
Yes.
to me. Like,
Yes.
Basic
without being stereotypical.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. My wife, you 100%. Yes. So is that the one that you sell the most of?
Yeah.
What is it? What is the
it's, you can get any of our drinks iced, hot, or frozen. And so that's just the flavor combination is white chocolate and caramel.
Oh, okay.
And we do like a frozen, we call it a cosmic freeze.
Okay.
And it's just espresso, whole milk, and a little bit of sugar in like a frozen beverage machine.
Tell all of our
Okay.
secrets.
And then you put it in this for 13 seconds.
I tell every customer this if they ask me.
That's the thing, though. You can give the formula all day long. They just got to do it.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, meh.
I think a lot of it's branding and, all of that too.
Oh, for sure. People want an experience. Be honest. If you
Yeah.
if you went up to, you were in Lake Havasu again, and somebody just had a table with some kick-ass coffee, you're like, okay, well, they had some kick-ass coffee at a table. But then you go somewhere that's got like a disco ball and people on rollerblades, with neon headbands. You're like, that was pretty cool. And the
Yeah.
coffee might not have been as,
Well,
it's
see-
just an experience, at least for me.
And
Oh, yeah.
that's like how it was where the lady we bought our equipment from and learned everything from. She just had this like itty bitty building. Like it would definitely fit in this room. It was small.
Yeah.
It was drive through only, but it was just, plain, nothing crazy going on. She didn't do all the different seasonal menus. And I mean, she had the flavors. She just didn't market it and push it that way.
Sure.
And so they were like, there's literally 4 Starbucks in Havasu. It's a small town.
Yes.
It's very isolated. And then there's also 3 other coffee shops. And she could have been killing it, but she was just keeping it very basic.
Yeah.
And I think if we had our coffee business there, which we've
Yeah.
considered, then I think it'd be a lot different. But
Yeah. So I like the kind of you have neon colors and cool, retro looking vibe and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I think that's awesome.
Thanks.
I think it would travel well too, if that makes any sense. It's a in marketing, as you well know, it's something that is abrasive enough to gather attention, familiar enough to gather mind space, so the colors and the vibrance, it takes people to a certain place. And also it creates a feeling of fun. And that's all people really want.
Yeah.
Sure, things that are stock and boring and whatever colors and corporate can make it. They obviously do on a daily basis. But for what you're doing, I think you're spot on for all your marketing. Bravo. Yeah. In my opinion, I'm nobody. But
a lot of these coffee trailers stick to neutral colors. Because
Yeah.
I'm on a Facebook group of coffee trailer, mobile coffee owners.
Yeah.
And most of them are very, bland color palettes.
yeah.
Very craft.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're not hating on craft coffee, but we're not.
Yeah, that is a culture. Isn't
We're
it?
not those people. Like
Yeah.
we're not over here. We have a friend who is very into that, but we're not over here like grinding up mushrooms to put in your coffee or anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's got its place.
Yeah, it does.
And God love them, whatever. I just never. There's a science to it, and you can geek out and nerd out as much as you want to on it.
Yeah.
And there's every side along the way. It's just not my thing. I kind of just if it tastes good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And that's how most people are. And so that's kind of like our lane. Like we just want to be,
Yeah.
Appeal to the masses. And we're not over here like weighing out, our coffee shots and
Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah.
Misting the espresso beans before you grind them up and
Didn't
doing all
even know
that.
that was a thing.
I need those people to get on out of here.
And
No,
that would-
it's got its place, and I think, one of my first guests, probably like 6th or 7th guest was Luke Brew.
Oh, yeah.
He had Brew Coffee.
Yeah.
And he and his wife came on and we talked to them when they were doing their whole thing. And he was more on the like that side of things.
Oh, yeah.
Total respect. I think that's cool. It's, if
And
it
we got
tastes good,
coffee
it
from
tastes
them.
good. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
too. He
Yeah, we
brewed a
like
bunch
them.
and brought it to me and did a bunch of good. I thought it was great, but I'm more of the like, I just want it to taste good, do its job. And if it creates like a cool vibe and a cool culture and it fits in somewhere, freaking awesome.
So
His
we roast-
marketing was really cool too. I really liked what they were doing. But like
Yeah.
the volume of people that we see at events with the coffee trailer and like with the drive-through, you can't, you know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
just not, people are in a hurry.
Yes.
They got places to go.
Yeah, coffee is I don't know, it's one of those things that becomes part of a person's identity. That's weird to say out loud, but it really does. You think about it. You think like people that that person is a coffee person, or that person is a beer or wine, or, you kind of know the people by their beverages. Wow, it's just really weird to say out loud. But
Yeah.
Yeah, with our coffee, we try to do just roast to maximum smoothness, so like it can handle the flavors. Because like some of these craft places, if they go to flavor stuff, like it's competing flavors and stuff. Like,
yeah.
we've just got like superiorly smooth.
Where do you get your beans and all
We
that?
roast it.
You do everything in house and do all that.
Yeah,
That's
we're
cool.
working on getting our big roaster up and rolling, and then I want to start pushing like production, doing more
Awesome.
like bag coffee sales and like
That's killer.
maybe getting wholesale accounts and stuff for other coffee shops.
Very good. I need to hook you guys up with Scott so you guys can go in on a coffee stout. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Get your beans and whatever else is
Yeah.
involved.
That would be cool.
Beans. So I always lead things with so. I hate it that I do that. I've been making an effort in my head on the podcast not to go so as much, but I've done it 75 times tonight.
Better than
Ums kill me. No, sorry, I did that one on purpose. So if people are, see, I did it again. Can you throw something at me? So if people are new to your brand and your product, what do you feel is the draw? Like, what would separate you guys from another coffee shop? What separates you from Starbucks? What separates you? Like, what is your goal with that?
So I had to do all this for our business plan for that competition. I would say like the number one thing is customer service,
Okay.
a large variety, and this is 3 things. I don't know why I said number one. A large variety of drink options, customer service, and consistency.
Okay.
I want to be sure that the drink, because I hate this, I want to be sure the drink that you have at the coffee trailer on a Tuesday is the same drink that you have at the drive-thru on a Friday.
Yeah, that's big.
I
I hate it.
can't
I hate ordering
handle
something
that.
twice and it's like 2 different drinks.
Yes, and
Yeah,
it
it
happens
kills
all the
me.
time with Starbucks, all the time. And even other coffee shops we've been to, it's a problem. They don't flavor it the same. It's way too sweet. It's not sweet enough. It's something completely
training,
different.
right?
Yeah.
And that, doesn't
we
that
have
boil
a
down to
system.
training your people,
Yeah.
right?
We have a really good system. We got to rein it in every now and then.
You got to Karen at them every
People
now
get
and then.
creative. Gordon Ramsay. And I poured one of our baristas drinks out one day. And so then they said I was Gordon Ramsay because she was making it and then she messed it up and then she was trying really hard to fix it. And I was like, no, start over.
You donkey.
I didn't say that. I just
You
poured it
have
out.
messed up, peasant.
So now I like only send Gordon Ramsay memes or whatever when we're like,
That's
all tasty.
hilarious. So for this episode, I have the YouTube thing. I'm definitely going to put a Gordon Ramsay somewhere on on the cover of it. So what's your most unique drink?
Ooh, making
We
me
have
think.
so many drinks,
Yeah.
and I can't even keep them all straight.
Well, right now on our spring menu, I've got a tropical or what do we call it? A spring break.
Spring break breve.
Oh, okay.
So that's white chocolate, strawberry, and banana.
And people don't
Okay.
order it because I think they're scared of it.
I get scared about it.
Yeah.
That sounds like something that would be good, like frozen.
Yeah. So a breve is, we can't do a breve frozen because it's like what makes it a breve is the half and half.
Oh, never mind.
But you could get it as a cosmic freeze.
Okay.
And it would be really good. But as a breve, it's really creamy because you
What's
do.
a breve?
And everybody wants to not order things because they can't say it and they're worried about it. But man, these things get called everything from
Oh, dude, I'll
Breve
mess it
to
up on purpose.
Bravo. I mean, it's crazy.
So what is a breve?
So
Pull that just a little
a
closer if you don't mind.
So a latte is espresso and usually 2% milk.
Okay.
A breve is espresso and half and half.
I love
So
half
it's
and
real
half.
creamy.
Yep.
Yep.
See, my go-to in the morning, like I used to do like the bulletproof coffees, stuff like that. So I like, ghee and, whatever I can get in there. I did keto for quite a while on the
Stay
road.
close to a bathroom.
Yeah,
Do all
it
that.
was Drano, bro. It literally, until I got used to it. And then I switched over to MCT oil and like the Kerrygold butter.
Yeah.
And that was good, You need a probiotic, I think, because your gut health is wrong. It'll help your migraines.
Between the nicotine and the coffee, I'm regular.
You're regular. I am too. My wife says we could set the clock to it.
10
I wake
o'clock.
up. I'm like this coffee pod because I'm very static here. I do this. Yep. And then I'm done. It's
No,
wild.
I'm like 30 minutes, but 4 shots of espresso and my first in of the day, and
So
things rolling.
The baristas give him a hard time about it. They know that he's got to go. Like when it's
yeah.
never there.
Right in the morning rush.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll see you guys in a few
how
minutes.
You guys doing? I'm out.
Yeah.
So how much caffeine is in an espresso?
I think it's about 80.
Yeah, I think it's 80.
Damn.
I've looked it up so
So
many
you're
times.
rolling 320 right off the bat.
I have to
I was
really be
doing
careful.
6. I had to rein it in.
Yeah. When
Is that bad for you?
They say you have less like cardiac events
With
if you drink like a good amount of coffee regularly.
So
what's a
we're
good
good.
amount?
I mean,
I feel like you're pushing it. I feel like you're right on the edge, bro.
I've been trying this nitro stuff, so
Oh,
I've
so
been
you
having an afternoon nitro too. So
Do you sleep?
No,
Yeah.
we don't get
I
enough
don't have
sleep.
time to sleep.
Is it like I want to sleep and I can't because I'm so jacked up?
No,
on Xanax?
like, I
No,
could-
not because of that. He
I
sleeps
mean, I
fine.
drink so much coffee, I could drink
Yeah.
a shot of espresso and then go to sleep.
I'm like that too. Like I'll have a dessert and a coffee. I'm out. Like it doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. It used to when I used to work out heavy. So I'd have the pre-workouts and then I'd have the post-workouts and then and then the coffee and all that stuff. And I'd be like cracked out.
We were big into that stuff for a while.
Oh, it was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I lived in Nashville for like 17 years, and my next door neighbor, he was a strong man, right? Like he did all that, and then he got me into it, and I went from like probably 195 or 200 to 265, and I was like unhealthily like big, you know what I mean? Like everything got strong except for my joints, and all my rotator started going and everything started. I was like, okay, which is funny. Mikey, my friend, brought me this today. I used to do feats of strength. So I used to bend nails, if anybody can see that.
That's crazy.
So we had this thing, and it was Iron Mind was the company. And Mikey, I just showed him that nail that you brought us.
I've been listening at the door, man.
Oh, you're good, buddy. So he used to do the grippers, like the grippers
We
that
have
you
those.
see. But I did the COC, the Captain's of Crush, and there are certain levels of grippers that you get to a certain point, and it's like national strength. You get on a registry, and he was really strong. And one night we were cooking, grilling out, having a couple beers, And he was like, "Hey, let me go grab those COCs." I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'll give it a shot." Never thought twice. I didn't know. I was like, "I don't know what this is, but I'm drinking, so it'll be fun." And he brought them over, and he was like, "All right, here's the one. Like, this is like, if you can close this, you got a pretty strong hand." So I was like, "Okay." So I set it in my hand and I closed it. He was like, "Oh, good, man, killer." And then he had a 1.5, and I closed it. And then he was like, "Okay." And he handed me the 2. He was like, "If you can close this, I'm going to be really, really surprised." He's like, 75% of people can't close this, like, that train. And I was like, "Okay." And I put it in my hand and I closed it. He was like, "We're hanging out. You're coming over. We're going to do this." And then, we worked up and started bending nails and geeking out. My hands just got all arthritic because it was so bad. But it's just one of those weird things that was like a chapter in my life that I like really enjoyed doing. I did competitions. Like, what are you doing, bro?
I remember our handshake now. It makes sense.
Oh, did I shake your hand? It was totally I tried to hold back.
No, it was just a good handshake. But
Okay.
I could tell you had a grip.
He's big into that. Like, noticing.
Are you?
handshakes.
I don't even mean to. My neighbor, bless his heart, George, he's probably 55, maybe something like that. And that was in the like freaking midst of me doing it. And it was just natural. Like, it was like a second thing. And I went, "George, how you doing, buddy?" And did that. And he went, "Ah." I was like, "Oh, shoot." I didn't even know. It was totally unintentional.
Oh, man.
So I had to like, kind of dial it back a little. Dial it back, Rob. But that was a whole different time. Yeah, now I'm just kind of like, I probably couldn't do hardly anything. But it was so geeky. We had these registries where like these you could use your fingertips and lift stuff up and like lift anvils and all this stuff.
Wow.
Like I was a Viking basically for a while.
I get those reels on my Instagram sometimes.
Oh, like the heavy like lifting and all that
just
stuff.
weird
He
feats of
gets all
strength.
kinds of weird
It's
stuff.
weird, man. We'll have to hang out and just pick up stuff. It's weird. All you do is pick it up or you squeeze it. It's like, like, what are we? We're Americans. We have the luxury that we can do that and nobody cuts our heads off.
Like, what'd you do this weekend? Just
I
squeeze some
just-
nails. It's fine.
So we had some nails sitting around. Squoze them. Me and my buddy squoze them. I gave one to my friend Mike. He kept it for 17 years, brought it back to me. That's really a legit story. So moving forward, right? Let's get back to the coffee game.
Okay.
You got something up your sleeve that you're not telling me. You're expanding in some shape or form. I just feel it. I feel the vibe of secrecy.
I think the coffee roaster we need to get it rolling, and then like it can pump out some serious levels of coffee. So I want to expand that side of the business, try to sell more
Online
12-ounce
presence type
bags,
things?
maybe
and-
some. Yeah.
Okay. You have an e-commerce thing rocking and rolling already?
Maybe sponsor some podcasts and get
That's
some
what I'm
people pumping our
saying, man.
stuff.
You know what? Like I was laughing because Luke brought us a bunch, initially,
Yeah.
and it used to be set up in the back room, and I was like, when I get a legit setup, I want to have coffee for my folks. I want to have all sorts of cool stuff, for people when they come in, so it's an experience.
Yeah.
That we can send them home with some stuff and stuff like that. So we'll have to talk. I'd love to do that.
Yeah. Definitely. We have to get our packaging figured out. Like, we're big on how everything looks. Like, we want it to be on brand before we roll anything out.
Yep, I'm
Big
the
time.
same.
So people can buy our coffee now in bags, but it's just kind of like we don't really advertise
Yeah.
it or
You know.
do anything. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Do you have somebody that does like do you do tumblers or engraving or anything like that?
No, we've looked at it. We're working on some shirts right now. We're gonna pretty much promote those.
Cool.
I was gonna do it tonight, but tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're gonna promote those tomorrow. But we've looked at some different tumbler options and things,
Yeah.
but the upfront cost is a lot.
So, sponsor of this podcast, Sport Around Trophies and Awards. He's in Reiner. His turnaround and his prices are absurd. He does all the
Oh, cool.
laser engraving and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I'll have to get you his information because he's awesome.
That's
He's a great
cool. Yeah.
dude, and he
Yeah.
loves the community.
That would be
So,
perfect.
Be good to get a few little samples.
Yeah, because like when we just had the coffee trailer, it was hard to sell any merch because we didn't have anywhere to like put it to show
Yeah.
people. But we want to be able to like have some sort of display so people can see it when they come through the drive-thru.
And doing something like I've seen other people do, like when I was on the road, is if you buy their tumbler, you get free
Yeah.
black coffee refills.
Yeah.
Or, stuff like that. It just creates that cool vibe. So
Yeah, we wanted to do something like that when we first, because cups were really hard to get for a while. Like the
Really?
plastic cups that
I
we
think I
ordered.
remember that.
It was, you couldn't get them. It was awful.
They're still way more than like when we first started. They were, I mean, they've gone up 40%.
Yeah, it's
Like
crazy.
Dixie cups or like the
like the plastic,
like the clear ones?
Clear ones, yeah.
Okay.
Those were crazy. And so I wanted to do something like that then, but people were still kind of weird about COVID then. And they were like, well, I can't. Like, even the health department, they called one time. They were like, you're not letting people bring their own cups, are you? And I was like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
It was a whole thing.
I could see that being
yeah.
weird.
But I think now it's back to.
It's like bringing your own plate
it's
to
back
Ryan's.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, dude.
Yeah.
That ain't right.
But I think now that would work again. But yeah, we want to do more merch stuff. And then it was funny you mentioned the pods. We're working with a guy on getting our coffee in pods.
Nice.
Yeah, so that would
Is
be
that a process?
cool thing. Not for us.
I mean, as long as
Not
you-
for us. We in the business.
no. The guy's just like, I just need 5 pounds of coffee and we'll make it happen.
Killer.
Yeah.
You put your own little branded little on there.
Yeah, he found the co-packer, so like that's the big thing is just finding somebody who'll do it at the level we can afford to do it at for
Yeah.
like pretty cheap. 'Cause
Okay.
At the end of the day, it's a K-cup. Like nobody's gonna pay super outrageous prices
Yeah.
for K-cup.
Like
it's-
I'm dope around $1.25, $1.50 for a K cup. That's
Yeah.
about where I'm at with Black Rifle because I do like the supply drops and stuff like that. I love. It's just nice and it supports our veterans and stuff. So, like to me, I'm all in for stuff like that. But after about $1.50, it's like,
yeah, like K-cup you can only get so good because it's pretty.
yeah,
Like then you've got really good coffee. You want to do like a pour over or something. where you
Sure.
really extract all the coffee.
yeah.
and
I did that.
it's fresh.
I nerded that out for a while. I did like the French press and I did the pour over, and it was funny. I mix sound for a living, so I had a side cart that traveled with me that we put on our tractor trailer. This is so nerdy. I'm so sorry, and I had like a pour over system in there, and like every day I'd advance it. I'd be like, I need X amount of water. I need a plug in. I need this, for my warmer and all that. And I would pour over coffee at front of the house. Yeah. Sorry about that. I was a diva for a minute.
Now you need you a home espresso machine. That's the rave now.
Yeah. So I was with Craig Morgan for years. He's a country music artist, and he had one modeled and fit into his bus, right? And for the longest time, he was like, I need y'all to, if you can advance that, I'm going to need y'all to do that, and I'm like, who in the hell has like custom espresso machines that they can just drop off in a tent? It's like, that's not really something that, what's that company, the DeLone or the DE something?
DeLonghi or something
Yeah.
like that.
I think we got a few of those a couple times, but it's just not something that you typically do.
Yeah, COVID, a lot of that stuff, like a lot of people got home espresso machines. So
Yeah.
Was
So
that
that's
a
a
lot of-
thing, right?
Yeah.
You can do that. It's expensive. Or?
They sell them they don't now because they're closed. But they used to have a couple of Bed Bath & Beyond. They were not, they're kind of like crappy ones, but.
Oh, I didn't know it was like
I think
a
it was like
consumer side.
it was like $450 for one though. It's not like, yeah,
That's a lot.
a lot for a little appliance.
Yeah. What's the difference in that and what you guys do?
Ours is just bigger.
Just bigger.
Better.
Just better.
Yeah.
There's love.
Well, see, the one that we had originally, the one that fell off the counter,
Yeah.
we used it until December of 2021. And we were doing this massive contract at Carillion in Roanoke. And they were paying for all the staff to have coffee every day. So we were there
700
6
bed
a.m.
hospital.
to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Bringing in that Skrilla.
Yes, it was crazy. But then, like a week before Christmas, our espresso machine broke. Died. Done. But it was 30 years old.
Yeah.
And so we had to
lived
get
a
a
good
new
life.
one. Yeah.
I miss it. It was a horse.
She was a
Yeah.
good lady.
Yeah.
We had to get a new one. And I was like, I have no idea how much these cost. Like, we got this one for like nothing basically from
Yeah.
the lady in Arizona. And they were like, oh, the lead time on these is going to be like 6 weeks. I was like, this is just not going to work. Like, you're going to have to figure
Yeah.
something out.
Yeah.
So we got it pretty quick. But it was like
They're all
$8,000
made
right
in
at Christmas.
Italy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, I think that's like we were talking about Route 8 Donuts. Like it's like a specialty thing, and the lead time is just so ridiculous that
Karen had to call.
Karen was on it. She's like, Custom Carol's
It's like, this
managers.
is my livelihood. This isn't going to work. You're going to have to figure something
Hey,
out.
dude, you got to press,
Yeah.
Did you see
rent
what
to
I did
pay.
there? Sorry, that was a coffee joke. Well, guys, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Yeah.
I really want to get with you guys. I feel like I've seen you doing some stuff in the community and reaching a pretty good audience already. And I see you just growing and going uphill. And I would love to partner with you guys and help partnerships happen also, because I think I would love to use, your coffee in some of my brews, because I'm going to start brewing again. And I know that some of the breweries around here it'd be a killer resource to do that. Have you thought about doing like festivals and stuff, or
So, like, what kind of festivals?
like music festivals?
We
Like-
tried to get in at Floyd Fest. I mean, it's not even happening this year, I guess. But
Oh, is it?
no, they just said it was canceled.
Because of the
something about a new
permits,
location.
right?
Yeah, something, I don't know.
Yep.
But we had tried to get in on that a couple of years ago, and we were told we couldn't because Red Rooster had like some rights with them.
Yeah.
So we couldn't do that. I don't really know what other. We have a.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. Him.
He
I'm
is
trying.
mad right now at you.
He and some
He's
of our
like, yeah,
staff.
she's behind. on
They
it.
I'm
they
trying
found
to go
a
to a music festival.
Yeah.
So.
they found a
gotcha.
vendor application for a music festival in Maryland.
Ocean City,
Yeah.
man.
Okay, yeah.
And
The
they
lineup looked really good. I was like, oh, we have to take her. Like, the only way I'm going to be able to go is if I take the trailer. So
Let's
try to be a vendor.
What type of, is it rock or?
no,
Yeah, I mean, they've got,
I don't know.
I think like Incubus and like
Oh, hell yeah.
some like
It's a really wide variety.
Yeah.
Jack
So-
Johnson. I think
You
was
could
one of
just
them.
remember the name of the music festival.
It was like Ocean City Music Festival.
Super creative. Okay.
It's
Well,
just the
anyways,
little things, yeah.
But you
Type
have
that into Google. You're getting the lineup.
You'll find it. Yeah.
the form. They're trying to get you to sell your business. Like tell them like why should they pick us.
Yeah.
And so I've not filled it out yet because I'm trying to be sure that we sound really cool.
So
But
Send
yeah.
him a video.
it does have Incubus, but also John Mayer and Noah Kaon, Cheryl Crow, the Lumineers, Weezer, Dirty Hands.
Lumineers, Weezer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty fun time.
Yeah.
Good job. Thank you, Logan.
Hey, I got it.
Hey, Logan. Logan, show up right here real quick. Get out of here.
Okay, bye.
Again, thank y'all so much, and I want to do this again.
Yeah.
I'm going to come down there. I'm going to make it a point to come down there now and go through your drive-through and eat some donuts and
Yes.
drink some coffees.
Yeah, need to
You
push
can
those
come in.
donuts.
We'll allow you to come in. And
Oh, I don't
tour.
want to bother
No,
you.
you can't.
I don't want to bother you.
You really can. It's fine.
I would like to see it though.
Yeah.
Do you guys do that? Do you have a lot of requests to see like the store and like how the behind the scenes
I mean,
process and stuff?
People get mad that we're not, like, we're just a drive-through, but
It's just too small. Like I think people get really hyped because they like mad hyped because they think it's like because of COVID stuff that we're not open inside.
Oh, okay.
And so they're like, oh, you can't come in here. And I'm like, oh, it's just because it's really small. And we
Yeah.
were going to have to blow out a wall to make a handicap bathroom. And we just didn't have any more time for that.
Codes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were
Mhm.
like, it's small and we couldn't do all of this crazy stuff. And so we just said nobody could come in. And out west, a lot of coffee shops like the one that we, learned from,
Yeah.
they're just drive-throughs.
yeah, we're very much like a West Coast style coffee shop.
Yeah.
So it's really,
I see that. Yeah, I can see that. You definitely have that kind of, at least over the Rockies, type of vibe, which
Yeah.
I appreciate. I think it's great.
Yeah, that's what we're going for. But I don't think it translates. Like people, they don't know what they don't know.
So here is it's a little behind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like things make it here, but a little later. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Fashion, music, all that stuff. It seems to be on like a small delay.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a delay, and then it'll catch on a bit. Oh yeah, craft brew. Oh yeah, coffee shops. Oh yeah, it's like
Yeah.
we're here to culture.
Well, one
yeah,
of his,
yeah.
Culture Southwest
one of
Virginia.
his,
Yes, that's what you're here. You are providing culture.
one of his nurse friends, went like way back. He was a travel nurse and lived in Virginia, and then he ended up moving in and being a roommate with us for a couple of months in our house. He lived there as long as we did almost. But he was from California. And so
Yeah.
he would constantly comment on how like things here were not, oh, you're listening to that song. I listened to that a year ago,
Yeah,
So it's definitely a little bit of a delay.
a little delay.
Yeah.
but it's okay.
Yeah.
I think things are slowly starting to round out and catch up, and I think stuff like what you guys are doing, what Scott Rockefeller's doing,
Mm-hmm.
even what is it, Iron
Ironheart, yeah.
Yeah.
Their distillery is open now. Did you see that?
Yeah. Stuff
Because
like
we used
that.
to be in that parking lot, and now they have a distillery where we used to park our coffee trailer.
Gotcha. But all that stuff, it brings awareness, and people got so scared for 2.5 years to live, to speak, to breathe, to go out, to do whatever. Rightfully so, whatever. It doesn't, I don't care where you, where you stand on being sick. It doesn't matter to me. But if we could just wake up again, it would just be awesome. I feel like we we're stuck in a time capsule there for a minute, and now everybody's starting to come out and figure out life again and go to music festivals and do those things. And the music industry barely survived that. I'm lucky that I got out when I did, because I probably would have lost my house and lost also, because that's what I did. I toured and everything stopped. I had a buddy that was with Carrie Underwood, and he was like, man, he's like, luckily I stockpiled and I've got this that I'm doing and stuff like that. But there are major people that lost everything because of that. And that's just one small industry. Your industry was the same.
Yeah.
Your industry was the same. Music was the same. It's just wild, man. Yeah. I'm just glad we're on the uptick until.
I'll never go back to nursing because of COVID, though. It's completely changed the way everything's done. And
yeah. In what regard is it?
Just like some of the it was just, everything was so chaotic. The way they secluded everybody, they took it to a level. This person's dying in the ICU, and you're holding up an iPad in front of their face. That's inhumane.
I think we're going to look back. We should already be looking back at just how wrong that was.
Oh yeah.
When it first kicked in, I did. It was it Galax that had those outdoor units, Logan? Did you go up there to those? The COVID units outside? I think it was Galax.
Little, almost tent looking thing.
Yeah. They had all that stuff out there, and they were just secluding people, and I get it. At that point, you didn't know what in the hell we were looking at. There was no clue to tell. That's why I stopped my podcast. I'm not scared of anything. It doesn't really matter. I'm scared of my wife. Right? Sorry, honey. But that's about it. It is what it is in my mind. So I'm okay, doing this. But there was a point to where it was like, dang, it's like zombie stuff. Is this what we're up against? And it was wild.
I was a nurse, right when it hit in the ICU, and we had pretty good outcomes. It was a good ICU doctor. He was really good at his job, and we didn't have anybody die. We had some people on the ventilator for a long time, but
yeah, we
got them off. And then once they started remdesivir and all this, it got,
yeah.
It
they were just so resistant to ivermectin, and they were resistant to other things that
demonized it.
Yeah, they demonized it.
Called it a horse drug. It's a Nobel Peace Prize winning drug for humans.
Yes. Yeah.
Why are you?
Yeah. It was, to me, when I watched it, and a lot of it was the deranged syndrome that people had for the longest time. It was just no, you're not taking it because somebody said it's good. Or you're done. They
made Joe Rogan green.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, when Joe Rogan got it and he took ivermectin and I can't remember what all he took.
It was
vitamin D, vitamin C.
D.
Yeah.
And that's the vitamin D. There were studies early showing that was highly effective.
Yes.
And were they out giving people vitamin D boosters?
They were what they were doing is they were robbing people of natural vitamin D by keeping them inside, keeping them scared. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but that was my protocol. When this started happening and we were still working and I was still in it every single day, I didn't get it at all. I did vitamin C, I did magnesium, I did vitamin D, I did folic acid, and I did, I had ivermectin, but I never had to take it. I got that somehow.
I think zinc was a...
Zinc. I took zinc. Yeah, the lozenges. And that was it. And I just flew. I was in it almost every day, and then I let my guard down after I was out of it for a year and got it. And I got hot for like 24 hours.
Well, that's the thing with viruses. Like they mutate and they become more virulent, but
Yeah.
it's like basically a cold.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
like all the hype around it was just for power.
And they finally admit now that it did come from a lab. So there's that.
I mean, there was like when it first was the thing, because it kind of moved across the country,
Yeah.
right? We were in
Yeah.
Arizona. I remember being like, "You're gonna have," because we still had our RV, like at a campground. We were paying for it, and we lived in this rental house. And I was like, "You're gonna have to go live in the RV. Like, you can't be bringing this stuff in here to me and my kids."
100 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those RVACs are.
I was like, "Get out of here!" we
Did
can't
you have
do
a
this.
generator that pulled out so at least it got cool?
No, it was built in.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got
but
hot, bro.
We were cautious for a minute.
You had to be. You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to bring it into the house, so I stopped the podcast. And, but like I said, I was a deputy, and we were everywhere, and we saw it. And the worst effect that had, people lost their lives. No downplaying that. No people that had diabetes, heart problems, all that stuff that were more susceptible to it. Obviously, they lost their lives. Was it because they didn't get vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, and all that stuff? Potentially. Was it not? Was it because they incubated their lungs with a, what is that thing called? The respirator.
All the ventilator?
Yeah, the ventilator.
Yeah.
I don't know. We could go on and on about
How
that.
many people died from drug overdoses and
Suicide and all that. Yeah, that's a big thing because the mental health side of that thing we were talking about it on a previous podcast. It's like that alone created another pandemic of sorts within people that lost their identities, lost their homes, were stuck with their husband or wife for too long. You know what I mean? It just opened the door to, like, I feel like it was the cruelest social experiment that we've had in a very long time. And I feel like we're already reflecting and we're already looking back on it as like, that's a shame.
Biggest transfer of wealth.
Yeah. I hope that people's brains kind of regain a little bit of common sense. I think that's where we, if it's on that screen, it must be true. Whether it's this side, that side, it doesn't matter. Like, people don't think anymore. They just don't. Nobody's thinking. Like vitamin D, vitamin C, that's like,
But do you have a study for that?
yeah, there are. That's the problem.
But everything goes back to a study, and it's like,
Yeah.
you can make
Yeah,
a study
science.
say anything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could find somebody on
How
an
about,
island.
How about we get some common sense? Like, it's actually go outside, be healthy. Like,
Yeah.
don't gain a bunch of weight. Like,
Yes. It starts
Just-
there.
be a healthy person.
It starts there. Well, with that, drink a lot of coffee
Yes.
because it is healthy for you. The caffeine is healthy for you. It's an antioxidant as well. Get vitamin D. Go to music festivals. Get an RV. Have a baby. Quit your job. Start a coffee company. Be wildly successful. Come on a podcast. And anything I miss?
I don't think so.
I think you got all the boxes ticked.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I'm going to come down and check it out with your blessing. And hopefully we'll have some Space Rabbit coffee in here at some point.
Yes, and shirts. When we get shirts, I'll get you a shirt.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I would love to do that. Well, Lindsey, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys. Anything you want to say? Blast the socials so that people can subscribe and do all that stuff. So
Yeah. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Space Rabbit Coffee. Our website is spacerabbitcoffee.com, and we post our coffee trailer schedule on there and any special drinks and donuts, and all of that is on social media.
awesome.
And we're hiring.
And you're hiring. Yes. So that's a big thing. So if you need a job with some pretty cool folks making magical concoctions.
Learn thousands of drink combinations.
Yes. And if
And then
you
we
like,
throw new ones in randomly.
yeah. And what is that thing? What is that called?
Zen.
Zen. And if you're into Zen, give me a
Zen
holler.
is not a sin.
Zen is not a dude. Is that the slogan? Is that the
No,
slogan?
he stole that from Tucker.
Oh, geez.
that's
Okay.
Tucker Carlson.
Sin is not a sin. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Next week, we have got Nick Rush coming in to talk all things NIL sports. Is it payola? We'll figure it out next week. But make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and all that good jazz. You know who we are. Commotion Diecast, or podcast. I do Diecast too. We love you. See you next week.